What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to YGOPD, your Yu-Gi-Oh! Professional Development, and today I have a Ninja deck update. I've been playing this quite a lot as my pet deck, casual deck, fun deck, whatever you want to call it. Been taking it to a lot of locals, and every time I've gone like X1 or undefeated, which is just wild to me, probably because most people don't know what the deck does, but yeah, it's still been really good. If you want to see a really in-depth kind of explanation of all the cards, what they do, how it works, and just some other like co-commentary, check out Sunny Peace channel. It's a really cool deck profile there. I've made a few changes since then and want to talk about a couple techs I've been testing here and there in between, but this is really what I've been grinding a lot as a fun deck. Since Rescue Ace has kind of been hurting my brain and the hands have been horrible, I needed something different to just do, and this has kind of been the deck I've been doing the last couple weeks. So with all that said, I'll go ahead and hop right into the deck. Okay, starting with the main deck here, I'm trying to get a little bit better about keeping stuff kind of up front and in frame as I go. Things are a little bit off there. There we go. 3 Hanzo. This is the main starter of the deck. Again, I won't do too in-depth because if you want to check out a really in-depth profile, I think is cool, and also just want to plug my friend's channel, check out Sunny P. He's done really cool stuff, and we kind of talked a bit about this at length. This is your main starter. You get either a ninjutsu spell trap or a monster. The spell trap is on normal, and the monster is on flip or special. Then the extender / monster negate is 3-2, specials itself if there's a face down or a ninja on board. And then is a monster negate with a ton of extra steps, flips itself down, flips the face down up, and the face down that flips up has to be a ninja. So it's just a lot of steps for a Veiler, but in a really simplified game state, or even going second, I've been trying to use this card a little bit better. So you can start by like a normal set and then special this, and then you have a monster negate online and you can start playing, and if they try to interrupt, then you just stop them midway. 3 Tabari. This is the main like Spirit Reaper of the deck. Doesn't die by battle or card effect the turn it's put face up on the board. And then there's a quick fuse on your opponent's turn. Something else I've been testing, shout out to my boy Sunny letting me borrow it, is Defusion. It's a way to dodge targeting removal, and if it's fused properly using Tabari's effect, you can tag it out. You can bring back the fusion and then special the materials back from grave as long as they're all there. It's been really cool to bring back Geo and like double book again is really cool. There's just like a lot of different interactions you can do with it. It's not in here, but I'm probably going to put it back in to test a few more times, but I think it's really cool. 2 Kagero. Most people play 1, some people play 3. I settled on 2. I was trying like 3 of this and 3 Droplet. I wanted the deck to be a bit faster, and this is one of the cards that does that, to be able to get another name on board from either hand or grave and help dodge targeting stuff is really powerful. The other thing is like this helps OTK. One of my events I was playing Bestial Horus Adventure Sprite deck, or no Bestial, sorry, just Horus Adventure Sprite, and he had 4 names on board. I was able to Karma Cannon, flip everything down, and then on my turn I could make 3 Maizen, and just having the extra one of these in rotation to get a couple other names on board to push for over 8k on turn 2, well I guess turn 3, was really good. So insane card. And then for rounding out the names, 1 Geo, which is the main Book of Moon guy that books your opponent's stuff permanently and also can give you spot removal. 1 Baku is what you typically grind with to recycle different ninja spell traps. And then 1 green is a weird extender, but also is just a Book of Moon if it goes to grave in any way. The card you're recycling most with Baku is the Notebook. This sets 1 ninja name and 1 ninjutsu spell trap from your grave and your deck. You can only do 1 from each place and only 1 of each total. So 1 monster from deck and then 1 spell trap from grave, or vice versa. So it's pretty good. I think this card is probably the best card in the deck. As I say, pretty good, right? Sorry, just moving this to make that a little bit more situated there. But yeah, really powerful card. This is what you loop with Baku and just get your plays going. It's a really insane card to give you extra bodies, protection. Spitting out Kagero from deck is always really nice. So running out the spells, we have 1 of the Iron Digger and 1 of the other Notebook. Regular Notebook is cool. I like it as a 1 of. It just helps fix hands a little bit, especially if you need to make the link to set a ninjutsu spell trap, but you don't necessarily want to get straight for a trap or you want something different. This lets you unbrick your hand by discarding a ninja name and setting a ninjutsu spell trap from deck. And then Iron Digger is your way to also grind and have spot removal, turn something into a ninja if it's not, and then you can banish a ninja spell trap or a ninja monster from grave, pop a card in the field, and if it goes to grave, you can take a banished ninja monster, either add it to your hand or special it face down. So this is what you add back with Baku, because then it special summons itself, and then you can just keep the cycle going. So The last of the ninja cards here are 3 of the Dancing Leaves and 1 of Duplication. This tributes a ninja name, 2 special ninjas from the deck that add up to that thing's level. So if you get a 4, you can get 4 1s, 2 2s, 2 2s, or a 2 and 2 1s. You get the idea. And then this just tributes any ninja or a face down monster. So if you book your opponent's stuff, you can use that. And then you get a ninja from deck. These are kind of how you play. This recycles itself by bouncing a continuous ninjutsu spell trap back to hand. That's an either or on the summon or the bounce, but still really good. That's it for the ninja stuff. For the generic kind of consistency pieces, as well as the non-engine here, sorry, still getting used to that a little bit. 3, Pot of Prosperity. You kind of need this. Again, this deck is like a little slower. It's, you know, rogue at best. That's probably a really generous giving to this deck, unfortunately, without having to play a bunch of power cards like I'm doing. But you need the consistency, and this card is now accessible as supers. So in the rarity collection, you can play this. I think it's really powerful. You do need to manage your extra deck well. I find myself using it a lot more than what I thought in terms of grinding and continuing to make sure I have access to as many fusions and links as possible, at least for the ninja archetype, right? But this card is just a really insane consistency piece and helps you dig for either board breakers or hand traps or just different defensive cards or engine pieces. It's just probably the most well-rounded card that the deck can use right now. But if you don't like it or don't have it, you can always bump up talents or different cards like that. 3 Ash is still the only hand trap I'm on. I side a bunch of hand traps right now I'll talk about in a bit, but I just wanted some general coverage. Ash is still Ash. It's probably the again, most generic coverage you can get, but I'm ultimately opting for cards that just do as much as possible on their own, so that way you don't have to rely as heavily on like guaranteeing seeing ninjas or different things like that. You still want to see them to play, obviously, but you want more higher impact cards. That's where this deck really thrives. So 3 Fenrir is pretty straightforward. And then the best card, shout out to my boy Sonny again. He lent me these. This makes me want to play this deck like forever. This also, excuse me, makes me want to even put it in my main meta decks. Like Rescue Ace, I've thought about doing 2 Thrust, a talent, and then even 1 of this is a solid set card off Thrust going first. But this just flips the whole board face down, and any monster that can't be booked, the player sends that monster to the grave. So either you or your opponent. So this outs Lynx for Unchained. This outs an unaffected Noir because it makes the player do it, not affecting the card, right? This just does so much. And I wanted to find as many ways to really capitalize on the advantage this card brings as possible. So we are on 2 Thrust and a talent just for the general package. Again, if you don't want to buy thrusts, which I can't blame you, or you don't have them, or you need an alternative, you could always bump up regular tactics. I'd honestly considered playing Trap Trick in addition to even these. So there's just a lot of different ways you can do to maximize on this card, but this card is insane, and I just wanted to have as many ways as possible to abuse it. So that's where these come from. So, and then the last 2 cards rounding it out at 40 are 1 Instant Fusion and 1 Rhoda. Pretty straightforward. Instant Fusion, there's a couple targets, but also the level 5 Ninja Fusion is a target. So that way it's spot removal, it's an extra body, it's an extender, like it does a lot of things. So that's it for the main deck. Like I said, a clean 40 cards for this deck. You can go above it in other decks, but this one I think you need as much as possible to kind of capitalize on the consistency. So that's kind of why that is there. For the extra deck here, for the fusions for the ninjas, we have 3 Maizen. This is the best one. There's only 2 of them, right? But all ninjas can attack direct, so that's kind of really what you're doing is perma booking their stuff or getting them to a mid simplified game state, spitting out a bunch of stuff, ignoring what's on their board, and just swinging direct, because that's a really cool thing. This being continuous, so you don't have to worry about negates. All these are inherent summons, so you could just like play around random negate boards or different things like that and just push for game, which is nice. And then when your opponent activates a card or effect, you can special a ninja from the deck. And then the second fusion here is 3 Yaguramaru. This is the other ninja fusion. Can banish a ninja thing from grave. I want to say grave, hand, or field. I think it could be anywhere. I could be wrong. And it targets a card on field as part of that cost and then banishes it. So it's just non-destructive spot removal that is really solid. Usually you pair it with a green ninja to get a second disruption, or after you've used a Mitsu to just kind of have a couple layers of disruption to your opponent as you're playing. And then the last couple ninja pieces here are 2 Saizo. You could probably bump this up if you're looking for other extra deck space or just really want to focus heavily on the ninjas, but I think 2's been fine for me. It helps in awkward hands where you can't really contact fuse properly, or if you have 2 names that are the same type, because Hanzo, Kagero, and Green are all warriors, and sometimes you just need to be able to make something and still get your plays going, but you can't fuse. So this is what that is for. It can't be targeted, I believe, for card effects, and attacks, maybe that might be Maizen, while it points to something, a ninja or a face down, and then sets a ninjutsu spell trap from deck. So really, really powerful card there. And then for the more generic stuff for twos, one dark, again, everyone's on SP. So even if you don't have one, you could just probably steal theirs if you get lucky enough. And then I do have one SP in this list. Again, you don't need it. I almost never make anything other than the Ninja Extra Deck stuff anyway. So if you don't have it, don't worry about it. You could put anything else you want in there, Nightmare Unicorn, IP Masquerena, whatever, a third Saizo, but I have it, so I'm just going to use it to kind of make it as good as possible. And then after that, the instant fusion targets, we're just doing one Mud Dragon and one Thousand Eyes Restrict. I'm not doing Millennium Eyes just because sometimes you are going to be summoning Yaguramaru with instant fusion because you just need another name anyway. But these are probably the two of the best ones you can do that give some utility. Pairing with that, one Anima and one Linkuriboh because of both instant fusion and Tabari being the level 1. And then the last card I would almost recommend if you do want to invest some money to get like a higher price staple, given like this whole deck core is like $5 or less because of the reprints, you can do one Typhon. I've thought about bumping this up to 2. Typhon is just a really good card in simplified game states. Again, you want higher impact cards that do as much as possible on their own without really having to commit too much, and Typhon is one of the few cards that really does that, especially with this deck, to kind of like set a ninja name, special Mitsu, and then like overlay Typhon, bait out what you need to do, set your traps, and then just pass over. So I thought about playing a second one of this, but that's pretty much it for the extra deck. I think it's pretty straightforward there. And then the last thing I'll showcase is the side deck. There's a few things I would definitely change after testing, but overall I think it's a good starting point if that's what you're looking for. Starting off, we have 3 Heavenly Prison. You need some going first card. This could be Solemn, this could be Deepberry, it could be whatever. I've settled on Heavenly Prison just because it has so much utility right now. To be able to protect your stuff from the major board breakers, Lightning Storm, Feather Duster, all that kind of stuff is really, really important. Evenly's not as big right now, at least in my area, so that's kind of where it is there. Being able to set cards like Karma Cannon is insane, and there's actually a good amount of Unchained popping up in my area. Shout out to my boy Cody, and there's a couple others that have been on it too, that this kind of also makes the matchup a little more awkward for them. So the last bigger chunk of the extra deck is just hand traps that you can kind of swap out. They're all higher impact hand traps that I typically side in any combination of like 9 to 12 of these. So 3 Shifter, 3 Droll, and 3 Nibiru. Out of the 3 of these, I would say Nibiru and Shifter have been a little bit more effective for me, just because it either simplifies the game state or prevents a board from being built. A lot of decks can still kind of build through Droll as of right now. It's becoming, people are learning more and more in this state how to get around it. So I'm not sure if I would keep all these in. I think the name of the game for this deck is more board breakers than just hand traps, because as the 6th card, it's just really horrible going second, and you need stuff to supplement your hand so you can play. So I might potentially cut Drolls and or Nibs, but I think I'd probably keep the Shifter at the very least. And then the last couple, like speaking of board breakers, is 2 Lightning Storm, 1 Duster. Pretty straightforward there, not much to say. But yeah, I think the way I would take this is just more board breakers. But this deck is really fun. If I could play a million copies of Karma Cannon, I would, but that's where I'm at right now. I needed something different to take a break from my brain. I revisit this deck a lot, and I've kind of fallen in love with it quite a bit. I might even play this at an upcoming regional in maybe a few weeks as just a pet deck or whatever, since I already have my invite, and just have some more fun at lower stakes and have less stress. So let me know what you guys think. I will see you all in the next one, and I have something really cool cooked for the next video as long as I get everything. But until then, next weekend I will be at the Post Board 3v3 out in Lexington, Ohio. But I'll see you guys then. Later.